Hello everyone, Commonwealth Realm here, once again with Rogersbase, and the big question is, do the Switch have a life after spring 2023? A lot of people have been thinking, oh yeah, we're gonna have a successor, it's 6 years, that's the normal end of a life cycle for a Nintendo system. But the Switch is not slowing down, it's selling like never before, and it's going to break new records this holiday. Let's just say it straight out. The sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is not the final Switch game.
Oh, no. Of course it's not the final Switch game. We have a lot of stuff still on the way. I mean, we've got Metroid Prime 4 still on the way. That's certainly not coming out before Breath of the Wild 2 is coming out. We've got a lot of other projects. I mean, potentially up to 2 more Fire Emblem games after Three Houses, like a remake and a mainline. We've got the next Pokemon generation's coming out this holiday season, but I'm sure there's going to be DLC for that. It's going to be the following year. So yeah, of course it's not the last.
The Switch could go all the way to 2025, based on momentum alone. The only thing they really need is a new top model, and it goes in line with what they did with the DS, what they had, and the 3DS for that matter, because that's how you keep this thing going for a long while and keep the success, and also get the proper time to develop a new product that isn't just disrupt the game, just like Reggie has titled his new book, Disrupting the Game. And Reggie has put a lot of emphasis in interviews and his past that when you have momentum and things keep selling, you don't need to pull the plug yet. The reason that they cut the plug off the Wii after 6 years was because the momentum was gone, and it was time for a new system. Then, of course, they did a horrible marketing blunder with the Wii U, and then they cut the plug of that one earlier. With those two situations, I think the Switch is poised for probably 8 years on the market, if not even 9. But they also want to maintain that middle spot so they don't release around a year or the same year as the next PlayStation or Xbox, because that was also the biggest problem with the Wii U.
Where we are right now, I think it's a good situation for them, right? Because on one hand, sure, PS5 has been out for a couple years at this point, but like so many people still can't get one. I would argue that there's been very little games that have actually taken advantage of that hardware yet, despite the fact that it's been out for quite a while at this point. I feel like if they were to do a DSi-esque, not full-on Pro, but like another version of the Switch, another revision at some point, maybe even next year, maybe to tie along with Breath of the Wild 2, that could probably carry momentum for at least another 3 or 4 years. You know, I think they're looking for DS numbers with this system, which they're on track for, right? I mean, the way this thing is selling and with the games that are coming up that we already know about, and with this upcoming holiday season, and with the new generation of Pokemon, with Breath of the Wild 2, with Splatoon, like, I have no doubt they're only going to continue to sell more and more of these things, and there still hasn't been a price drop for the original Switch yet. So when that ends up happening, that's going to be a huge game changer too. So yeah, I'm right there with you. I think they're in it for the long haul with this, and I think it's kind of silly to imagine that, oh, Breath of the Wild is going to be the end-all be-all for the original Switch.
The strategy that Nintendo usually applies when phasing out a product is first they do a price cut, then they come out with new models that have a significant impact on the system and changing it, and it's a clear sign to extend the life of it. And I don't think we have had any of those two on the Switch yet.
No.
Yes, we've had the OLED model, but that is just improvement of handheld. There's been no upgrade to the resolution on the TV,
right,
or boosting that at all. I'm sitting with the feeling that this year could indicate a price cut for the Switch, the regular one, because we haven't had one in, well over 5 years.
Sure.
Then with Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, we're probably going to get the Pro-ish model, the DSi moment that you said. And that's because that is the perfect game to demonstrate the significance of such an upgrade on a TV, on a big screen.
Could you imagine if they do a price cut the same year as a new Pokemon generation? I just don't, that doesn't feel like very Nintendo to me. I think they know that they could still sell this system at the price that it's at right now this holiday season with Pokemon on the way.
But then in spring, exactly.
Right, exactly. So around spring, maybe.
6 year mark.
Right,
yeah.
Sure. But during the holiday season, yeah, I don't think they're going to do it. As much as I think it would absolutely dominate the holiday season and everyone would get a Switch, you know, I don't see it being the case. This is not a very Nintendo move.
Yeah, and I also think that Nintendo wants to give the OLED a little bit of breathing room.
Of course.
It came out on October 8th, 2021. And then say March 3rd, 2023, we get a new model on top of that. Because the way the Switch has been going so far is that we started with Breath of the Wild and the Switch. Then the same day as Link's Awakening came out, we got the Switch Lite, which is exclusively a handheld. There's no other way putting it. There's no way to dock it and so on. And then we got the Switch OLED, which was the hybrid handheld upgrade. That's the best way of saying it, because the upgrades were only to the handheld, and well, when you dock, you also have now a LAN adapter, but other than that, there's literally no changes. So the final third upgrade, since we had the first upgrade, if you can even call it that, was Lite, second one was OLED. The third and final one will be that upgrade that gives us the TV resolution, and first after that one, and we've passed 2 years something, but from there, we will have the next generation and successor to the Switch in probably spring 2025, still well over 2 years before the next PlayStation and Xbox comes out. That's the sweet spot for Nintendo, for marketing, and for like the next system after the Switch will also be far into its success story by the time we get the new consoles from Sony and Microsoft. And by starting it off with Zelda, just like you started off the Switch generation now, I'm not saying that Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be followed up with a new Zelda game, because I sincerely think that when we get a successor to the Switch, it's going to have the new Mario Kart game, and I think it's going to be 2025. So exactly 2 years, probably around 1.5 years after we're done with the expansion pack.
Sure.
Well, the Booster Course Pass.
Sure.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yeah, the next Mario Kart's going to launch with the Switch 2, right? The actual successor of the Switch is going to launch with Mario Kart. Full stop.
It's all about having a system seller. Like, it's been pointed out so many times that if you want to sell hardware, you need the software that will sell the hardware, because hardware doesn't sell itself.
Yeah, and it would be far too early, even if it's 2025, it would still be far too early to have another Smash Brothers game. You know, Sakurai's taking a break. I believe him when he says he's not working on it for a while. He wants to go do something else. I think we'll probably have some other Sakurai project in the meantime, either a new Kid Icarus or, you know, some new IP, whatever he wants to do. Nintendo's gonna let Sakurai do whatever he wants until they come a knocking to make another Smash Brothers game. But yeah, I don't even see that happening anytime soon. In fact, I could maybe even see them having at launch alongside the next full, you know, Mario Kart game, like a Mario Kart 9, I could maybe even see them launching with like a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Deluxe Edition type deal that has all the DLC, everything built into it, maybe some new stages, 1 or 2 new characters or something, and that's it, right? Like turn Smash Bros. Into a platform. In that situation, I could see them launching with the Smash Bros. But yeah, otherwise, it's a Mario Kart all day, every day. They're obviously working on a new mainline one. They're not just going to do DLC for Mario Kart 8 forever.
I think we could see Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Complete Edition come out eventually, and it's a good way to give value or an alternative to people that still don't own Smash Bros. Ultimate, which is obviously limited these days because it's up there with
Animal Crossing and Mario Kart and Zelda, right?
First and only Switch game that will reach 50 million copies. So no one is catching up to that.
50 million, that's incredible.
The way I see 2023 is that Nintendo's just going to make a clear and sound statement, maybe already this summer, that we are not ending the Switch after 6 years. And the next Mario is also coming to the Switch in late 2023. Now that we have delayed the Mario movie, we're going to have a big Mario year as well next year.
Oh yeah, I'm right there with you. I think at some point within the Switch's life cycle, we get another big mainline Mario game for sure. Whether that's an Odyssey 2, whether that's a Galaxy 4, maybe something entirely different. I think that's absolutely bound to happen, that we're going to get a second 3D Mario on this system. No doubt.
After Bowser's Fury, I'm very confident that the Mario team knows what they are doing and which direction they want to bring the franchise into, so I am confident that late 2023, I think we should have a new Mario game, because if Zelda is going to be spring, copying the strategy of Zelda and Mario from 2017 is just too perfect. It worked so well that year, and it's just a perfect window, and you have enough months separating the two to make it work.
For sure.
Metroid Prime 4 as well, then we have 2023. 2024, just need to fill out something there as well, and then have a new system in 2025. I think Nintendo has a solid plan for the future, and that they know that this marketing cycle can go on for another 2 years, but after that, they cannot stick with the Switch too long because of the hardware. I just think that the hardware of the Switch has an expiration date, and that expiration date is March 3rd, 2025.
Yeah, and I think around that time is when we're going to be about 2/3 into the life cycle of like PS5 and stuff, right? Which I think is the right time to have Nintendo launch their new systems. I think that's a sweet spot for them now. I think they've realized that, you know, you're not too early in the generation where your stuff's being compared with the current generation, but you're like farther in where then you could start getting ports and start getting other things that were popular from the previous generation, but are still like relatively new and relatively modern. You know, could you imagine if like Switch 2 comes out in 2025 and it runs Elden Ring? Like, I mean, that's like, that'd be a huge deal. You know what I mean? So I think they found like a nice little sweet spot. And I think if they play their cards right, they can continue doing this for as long as video games exist.
Exactly, and I think what we see also with the Steam Deck now and so on is that the technology is there, but Nintendo has balanced the art of having, once again, better battery life, more affordable product that is also more handy and convenient to bring with you wherever you want.
Obviously, the system not being as bulky as well, the Steam Deck's massive, so...
That's where I think Nintendo is right now when thinking about the successor to the Switch. They want to take their time, they want to deliver a product that is just as sleek, just as convenient as the Switch, but it has far more power, both in handheld and TV mode. People are still struggling to get hold of the systems because of the chip shortages that have been going on for way too long now. Nintendo also knows that, so there's a too big risk to launch a new generation in 2023. And I think starting off with a new Mario Kart, and especially if it's a Nintendo kart, you know, combining all Nintendo's favorite franchises.
Whew, man, oh man.
It's the obvious next step, because by finishing off the boosted course pass, you have now given us half of the Mario Kart tracks that has ever been in the franchise are going to be present in this one Mario Kart.
And we assume also that we also assume the next Switch is going to be backwards compatible, I think, too, right? Like whether it's with cartridges or with just download versions or whatever. So right away, day one, when they do end up having the next generation, in addition to launching with a Nintendo cart or something along those lines, you'll also have accessible to you the entire catalog of the Switch, the vast library of games, right? Where then you could now play on this, more powerful hardware, whether that's like the open world Pokemon games or Splatoon or, Animal Crossing or whatever.
I think Nintendo has a good plan. And when we get to 2025, look at that. We're only 1 year away from the 8th anniversary of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if instead of having Mario and Zelda starting off the next generation, because I think the next Zelda game after Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be 2029, so like mid-cycle of the next system. I think that we could see in 2025 Nintendo Kart, 2026 the next Super Smash Bros. Game, Animal Crossing probably around the same time in 2026, 2027, and then get the next 3D Mario game 2028, next Zelda game 2029.
It's just like wild to think about that, man. Like next Zelda game in 2029 after Breath of the Wild. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna be 39 years old, man. That's just, I don't even want to think about that. Let's not even think about that.
But the way we see it now, everything is perfectly laid out.
Yeah, it all lines up. Yeah, for sure.
And we can see now the next decade of Nintendo right from here. It's crazy. When we were entering this year, I thought, okay, it's difficult to predict. But now, as we're discussing this, I think we have outlined what Nintendo is doing.
Oh, yeah.
And they just need like a top-down Zelda in between there, and boom, you have literally everything
there you go.
that you can dream of. The beginning with Breath of the Wild 2 just marks the first of many games in a line of games that is going to last for probably the next decade.
Yeah, I will make a bold prediction, though. I do think that by 2029, Silksong will probably be released, I think.
And that's all that matters for Nintendo, just going from one success story to another and then avoid repeating the Wii U mistakes, which they're not going to do because they're going to make it as clear as it's possible that this is the successor to the Switch and not just another model of the Switch. At some point there, we might have Pikmin 4 as well.
Maybe one day, yeah.
So that is the next decade, and we haven't even talked about the next Pokemon generations coming in 2020. And there you have it. The successor of the Switch, we have another Pokemon generation the first year. Could you imagine a new Mario Kart and the next Pokemon generation within the same... Nintendo is set for success already for the next decade. Crazy.
Wow.
This is a mind-blowing revelation. Once again, Roger, thank you so much for joining into this discussion that turned out to be far deeper than we originally anticipated.
Always a pleasure. It's good. No, I like talking about the future.
So anyway, thank you so much for joining for these couple of videos building up to Summer Game Fest, Summer Direct, whatever we have ended up with. Rogersbase, where can we find you?
You can find me at Rogersbase on YouTube, on Twitter, on Twitch, on Instagram.
If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to our two channels, Come the Wolf and Rogersbase. Thank you so much for watching until the end. Ring that notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. There's going to be plenty of that because of all the Nintendo stuff coming this summer and the second half of the year. Thank you for joining, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.